Here is a relatively complex design for the rear garden of a property. Here's a deck and here's the rear garden running through here. If I zoom out a little more, the plant schedule is down here and there are some other details there. If I go to a layout, here's the layout tab, happens to be an A3 tab, and if we click on the floating viewport here, you can see that it has a fixed scale of 1 to 50. Clearly that can be printed and given to the client or sent to the client via an email. But you'll often want to give extra information about cultivation and details of species used in the design. And if I go to a layout tab, species 1, here are the images associated with some of the species used in the design, and we work our way through and even to the plant schedule. Now on the surface it looks relatively straightforward to lay out a page such as this, but you do have to load the image. This is in my photo library. Let me just stretch that a little, and you can see in fact I can go to format and to images, and you can see the quite long path to each one of these individual images. So I have to, and I've done in this instance, I've just worked through in order to show one of our users how you might do it. But there is of course an easier way. You can get all of that information and more almost automatically, because you've done the hard work of generating a plant schedule here. There's the image, botanical name and common name. But if we go to the gCADPlus drop down and down here to extract schedules, you can actually extract that plant schedule to a CSV file, and I'll overwrite the one that I was using for rehearsal. So I've written a CSV or comma separated file from this information in the plant schedule. Now if you've been working and using our companion product, which is available from the tools drop down menu, we have a little database which we can connect to. Here's our plant database. I'll click here and we move to it. I'm going to just tab there and tab again to find it over here, because I've loaded a plant database file now. The file is the sample file that comes with gCADPlus and with SppDb. What I'm now going to do is come here and say I'm going to import that CSV file that we just wrote out, and will we like to clear any tags? I'll say yes for the moment. So what this does, it runs through that plant schedule, looks at every entry and just make sure whether you've entered those entries into the plant database. This is the sample one, and 10 of those 16 were in fact tagged, and when it's tagged you get a red box around, and I can go to the next tag and the next tag and so on. Here's the little semi-ground cover Coria pulchella. Now we would like to give all of this information, including maybe something that we've taken from Wikipedia down here, and we want to give that to the client. Instead of having to do a layout sheet and put every one of these images on the sheet, line things up neatly, and believe you me, it's quite tiring and time consuming. So at this point we've got them tagged. We can say print and come down here, all tagged entries. We don't want the image name, that's it down here, and the URL, we don't need that, so we'll say no. And I'm going to use a PDF printer. I happen to have chosen the Bull Zip printer, but I do need to set some properties. We'll go into landscape mode and we'll come down here, and I'll set A5 and change. We've got high quality images here, so let's make them 2400 dots per inch, and we'll say OK and OK. So we're ready to go. We can print this information without having to lay it out on the layout sheet. And I'll click, and what BullZip will do, it's configured so it will automatically pop up the finished file, and I'll close that message. So here's our first entry, and we can just say there's our second entry, and here's that courier that I was talking about before. So we've got all the information which we can print this off. It's a PDF file. We can send it to a client via email. So we're giving a lot of information, including the close-up image here, and we can go plus, 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 and it's quite a high resolution image, as I hope you can see, and the client gets that and gets a digital version of it. So it's a very quick and easy way of adding value to your design work. You do need to have your own SppDb plant database file, which of course you will develop with those plants that you know and have worked with, and hopefully you've taken some photos yourself which you can incorporate into here. So it's a demonstration of yet another way to add value quickly to landscape design work that you create with gCAD.